Have you been wanting to be a trailblazer, but you missed out on our Trailblazer book launch party? Well, you get to listen in on one of our panels today in this episode. Hello, lovely dynamic women, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. I am Diane Rolston, your host. And today we have an amazing panel from our Trailblazer Secrets book launch party that we just had. Now you're going to listen to our moderator and our panelists, all of who are authors in the Trailblazer Secrets book put out by myself, Dynamic Women. And there are 42 plus me authors in this book. And so you get to hear today from four of the authors. Each of them have shared their stories, their secrets in their collaborative piece in the book. And the joy is that today you get to hear them in this episode talk a little bit more about their thoughts on Trailblazers and why they wanted to be part of this book. And so I encourage you to listen in, to look for moments where you can be inspired and motivated and activated to get into action to blaze your own trail. Enjoy.
Well, with me, look at these amazing women with me on this panel. Barbara, Cora, is it Jeanine, right? I'm doing that right? Jeanine. Yeah, let's give it up. Show some love in chat for them. So yeah, we have some questions that we want to ask you, and we're just going to kind of get right to it. Oh, did I freeze? Okay, there we go. So Cora, I'm just going to start with you just because you're on the top of my screen there. But just real quickly, just can remind people, what is your title and what's your number? If you know what it was, what was your title again?
Um, don't know the number. Start your journey from within. That's my title.
Nice, I love it. So tell me, what does being a trailblazer mean to you?
To me, it means trying new things, not being afraid to step out and try new things. I think we're in an age where anything is possible. You don't have to listen to all the gurus. You can pick through what sounds good and then just do what you want to do instead of what other people think you should be doing.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Jeanine, coming to you. What does being a trailblazer mean to you?
Yeah, this is Jeanine Becker. My piece is number 18. It's about your calling is calling you forth. And to me, it's really, I think the crux of it for me is that it's about listening to the call. That's actually, you can't be a trailblazer doing somebody else's job. You're not going to follow. This isn't a role for following. This is a role for actually deeply listening and then being willing to engage with the challenges that show up. I was playing with my daughter yesterday at the playground and watching all of the obstacles are actually something that she delights in. Like that is playtime. And for me, a trailblazer is kind of engaging with the adventure of what comes from that place of curiosity, from openness with courage, and sort of that commitment to take the next step. But it's also the person who's really like doing that in an inclusive way. It's how are you bringing people with you and doing it as an act of service.
I love that. Thank you. And Jeannie, I'm going to actually kind of talk in here because I think mine go a little bit with what you're saying. Mine is number 24, I think, but it really is about the journey. And I believe that the need is the call, or that's what I was raised to believe. The need is the call. And I would sort of step into what is the need. And for me, the foundation was service. And I just began to serve. And I think was it Ashley that said earlier, thank you, Ashley, just sort of, falling forward. And I just was like, oh, this is where I need to serve. And when I began to serve, suddenly people were like, oh, well, you can do this and you can do that. And then more doors opened. And then I was like, oh, there's another need. Well, let me fill that need. And I would do that. And then it opened the doors to even more people. And then you ended up hanging around with people who were other trailblazers because they really appreciated people who could serve. And thus I surrounded myself with other trailblazers and realized what was open to me that I had no idea that existed. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. So Barbara, your title for us, and then what does being a trailblazer mean to you?
Great, thanks, Tanya. So yeah, I'm number 5, I believe, stressed to blessed, and I chose to share something deeply personal rather than share sort of the business end of things, which is new for me, but and blazing my own trail. So what it means to me is taking something that is ordinary or already in existence and pulling it apart and putting it back together in a new way and blazing a trail that nobody's ever been before. So for example, it's me taking all my financial history and all the spiritual astrology and all the other stuff and teaching women that we don't have to work hard. We don't have to hustle. We don't have to kill ourselves to create wealth. There's a new way. We're going to blaze a trail. I'll blaze it. Come on with me.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing your personal story, because the book is mixed, right? With business tips and personal stories. I too was brave like you, Barbara. I chose to do a personal story because I'm comfortable in the space of business. And so I'm not comfortable in the space of telling a story. And I too shared a mission trip that I was going on to. So really how it impacted me and how it really affected my life and my business to this day. So thank you. I appreciate that. So listen, all of you guests that are here, as well as my panelists, I have a question for you. How many of you have actually had a trailblazer that influenced your life? Just raise your hand, just physically raise your hand. How many of you have had a trailblazer? Panelists, about you, a trailblazer that affected your life somehow? So a little bit yes, maybe no. Cora, you're making your own lane. Tell me about that. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, just other people that I've seen, but not anyone specific, but just knowing that you can see the success that other people are having, and then that it's possible to do something like that, and whether it's exactly the same or something different. Like I was in a company before, and I'm not a loud out there kind of person. So when I saw other people that were like them, I thought that I'm never going to be like that. But then when I saw other leaders that were more like I thought, like myself, it's like, okay, it's possible. So just knowing that there's more than one way to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Barbara, what about you? How's that trailblazer? You put your hand up. So is it a specific person, and how did they impact your life?
Um, when I was thinking about this earlier, in that I go back and think about my mom and how she was a trailblazer in her own way, yet in the field of stay-at-home mom. And when I witnessed, so it was through my experience of seeing her as an adult and all the things that she went through. She lost her voice to cancer and couldn't speak her truth. And I think one of the reasons was that she got part of that is because she could never stand on her own 2 feet and speak her truth as a stay-at-home mother. So she taught me the importance, in a backwards way, to become a truth teller and to take my own stand and speak my own truth, no matter what it is, and being innovative in that way.
That's awesome. Thanks, Barbara. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Jeanine, I'm coming to you, sort of the same question. Who was it that impacted your life? And tell us about the Trailblazer.
It's interesting because I had an answer, and then hearing Barbara say that, I felt like I wanted to share, in some ways, my mom as well, but it's from the commitment to do things differently, to bring a different level of love and consciousness to our family, and to show up and to stand by me. I feel like one of the ways that I've been a trailblazer is just being a solo mom, having my daughter on my own by choice, and having the support that's there to make that possible. So that's one way. And then I feel like there's also the more universal way, which is in this moment when kind of our climate changes and our weather reports and sort of the systems that are holding up our society feel like they're not really up to the task, that I'm really moved by the trailblazers that are looking at the kind of the bigger challenges of our time, and not just working in reaction to those, not just looking at how they tear it down or how they fight against it, but are really thinking about what else is possible. And those are the ones that I'm just excited to support in my business. And I feel just inspired by, and feel like those are the people who are going to sort of birth and midwife the systems that can sustain us and our children.
That's awesome. Thanks. And thank you, everybody, for sharing, because I really believe that us telling our stories impact other people. And because even we all were listening to stories and go, oh, I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that was possible. And oh, I feel like that. And oh, Jeanine's going through the same thing as I am, and I can relate to that, and I'm not alone. And I think that our stories really do impact people. And I'm a little bit different. I'll just take a different perspective because I actually didn't have family members who were real go-getters. You know, I had a dad who worked Monday to Friday, and if you stayed home, you know, he did his Monday to Friday, and he brought money home, and he was a successful man. My mom, you know, stayed at work when she had to and could, but she stayed at home sometimes. And for them, they never graduated high school or college or university. So I was the only person in our family to graduate high school, barely, mind you, but but I passed. And so I had no idea what was capable. No idea. And not that they didn't support me. They totally love me and support me, but they didn't know. So I had to go to other women and watch them, just like Cora, just like you. Like, I have no idea what that is. And I happened to be very blessed to being raised in a church that just really promoted women and their leadership styles. And I had no idea. So cool. So yeah, so awesome. Well, thank you all for sharing that story. So if you wanted to encourage one of our guests here to be a trailblazer, what would you say to them? I'll let you think about that for a minute. Jeanine, I'm going to come to you first, then Barbara, then Cora. So I'll say the question one more time. If you wanted to encourage our guests that come here today, taking their time, and you want to encourage them to be a trailblazer, what would you say to them, or what tips would you give to them? Or encouragement, maybe.
Yeah, I think what I would offer in my piece, I offer sort of 6 C's of following your calling, and it's kind of 3 polarities. And so maybe I'd offer those here. One
We'll give them
is,
all up. They got to read the book.
I know that's
Okay.
true, but I think that the first piece is really around having compassion for what feels hard about that calling, actually sitting with like, what's the struggle, what's the challenge, and actually give yourself some space, some shared sense of shared humanity of what is challenging in it. And at the same time, can you hold the kind of the raw holiness of that calling enough to say, what's in it for me? Not just what's in it for the world, but how is this encouraging my growth, inviting my growth? How is this an opportunity for me? Where is this matching something that I need, that I want to grow, that's likely showing up more than just in my business, more than just in my work, but maybe with family? You know, I've had clients who, right, see that calling in work and actually notice that, oh, I really need to set better boundaries. And I'm getting invited in many ways to set better boundaries.
That's
Or
awesome.
I'm getting invited to work with my own anxiety and self-trust in a new way. And so my first step just for you is to hold, not just to push through and drive, but to hold both the compassion for what's hard and curiosity of what's in this for you.
I
Can you
love
play with
it.
that?
Curiosity. Oh, that's so good. All right, Barbara, I'm coming to you. So again, I'll just say the question one more time. Our guests that are here, and how would you encourage them to be a trailblazer?
I would say dig deep within your soul self, your heart self, follow the passion, but decide first off is how do you want to feel on the journey? What's the feeling that's going to compel you and draw you towards the things that might be difficult, the potential failures that are going to give you lessons and feedback? And no matter what happens, you might have shaky legs or a quavery voice or not exactly sure how it's all going to land. That's okay. We're all in it together. We're all blazing our own trails, doing things that are new. It's impossible to compare yourself with anybody else because you're doing your own thing. There is no comparison to you.
That's awesome. So I just got the timer. So we got like 3 minutes left. So Cora, I'm going to come to you, but I'm going to give you a different question, and then we'll just go. So we got 3 minutes, like 1 minute each, a little less than 1 minute each. So Cora, why did you say yes to this book? Why did you decide I want to be part of this collaborative book?
Yeah, because sometimes when we are working alone, because many of us work at home alone, we think we're alone and that nobody else can relate to what's going on. So through this and hearing all the stories everyone has, it's nice to know that there's other people out there that might be going through what you're going through or something similar as you're on your journey to move forward. So that's why I just wanted to share, and also, read all the other ones to inspire women to move on and be a trailblazer.
Right on. So you wanted to do it because you wanted to encourage people that we can do it and be around everybody, all the other authors. I love that. Good for you. Jeanine, what about you? Why did you decide this book right now, right here?
Yeah, it's a great question, because for me personally, this might not have been the moment. I'm solo parenting. My mom's in a healing journey. Like, there would have been lots of reasons to say no. And the reason to say yes was just this very clear, like, bubbling aliveness in my system, the sense of like, this is right. It's right now. It's this moment to seize, and trusting that when I have that feeling, when I have that calling, I can come up with logical reasons why it mattered, that I want to serve, that I want to offer, but that there's something also really valuable for me and for the world if I follow that felt sense. And so for me, it's trusting that, and then seeing all the other reasons that flow out.
Perfect. All right, Barbara, there's 15 seconds for you, 15 seconds for me. Go for it. Why now? Why this
Why
book?
now? Because I wanted to share a message to inspire others that they can, if they set their minds on it, they can do it as well.
Nice. And I'll say, people have been telling me to write a book for 10 years. I never thought it was possible because my teacher told me when I was in high school I was illiterate. And Diane, thank you, Diane. Can we just give it up for Diane, that she just helped us take away this fear, made this project, which I was so overwhelming, into something so simple. And you said to us, Diane, you can do it. And we're here because of you. So thank you for being our trailblazer.
Oh, thanks. I didn't know it would come back to me.
Yeah. We love you, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you. And I truly hope that, this moment today, that not just our panelists here getting to talk about it, but all the authors feel like an author, because you're an author, whether it's the first time or the 10th time, you're an author. And it's important to share your knowledge, your stories. And so I thank you for taking the time to jump on the panel today and for putting your piece in the book. And all I have to say is, like, people, buy the book. Come on, buy the book, because there's so much in it, like decades and decades of information. Wow, wasn't that amazing? I'm so glad that you got to listen in to just a piece of our book launch party. If you want to watch the whole thing, then I encourage you to click the link in the show notes. And you have the opportunity today to also pick up the Trailblazer Secrets book. You don't want to miss out on 43 trailblazers sharing their secrets and stories and tips on how to blaze a trail. They come from all walks of life. They're diverse in their age, in their culture, in what they wanted to share about, whether it's from their personal life, their personal growth, their business, or their career path. There is something for everyone in this book, including some bonus material of when Jack Canfield interviewed me. Also, I talk about what is a trailblazer, 5 clues that you could be a trailblazer. I also talk about the 3 things that are stopping you from getting ahead and having the success you want, along with so many other things. So again, thank you for listening. Make sure you hit subscribe and share with a friend. Sharing is caring. Until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.